So in previous lecture we have seen the photoelectric effect and this quantum effect. Okay, so from here onward we will see the next factors which will could not be explained on the basis of our classical mechanics. Okay. So the next factor is the atomic spectrum or the hydrogen atom spectrum. Okay. So hydrogen atom spectrum, you all know that there are the quite series. Okay, Lemon series, Balmer series, Paschen series. So based upon the wavelength that we are going to incident on the given system, we are going to get the different outputs. Okay, but it should not be like case in the case of our classical. According to classical mechanics, it should give only the one peak. Okay, one peak, but we are getting the multiple lines. Okay, multiple lines. So how could it be possible? And we are getting the discontinuous spectra for the that atoms. Okay, so there is a discontinuity in the spectrum also, so we could not be explained that on the basis of our classical mechanics. So in order to explain the discontinuity in the spectrum, we need to take the help of our quantum mechanics. So what is that atomic spectrum and how that differ from the classical mechanics, that we'll see in this point. Okay, so atomic spectrum is nothing but the spectrum of a light emitted by the energetic atoms, which is being composed of individual lines of different colors. So these lines will represent the discrete energy levels. Okay, this discrete word will come again and again in this in the quantum mechanics, because discrete means it is a discontinuous manner. Okay? So discrete energy levels of electrons in those excited atoms. So when an electron at a high energy states jumps from high energy to low energy one, the atom will emits the photon of particular wavelength. Okay, so the emitted wavelength will be exactly same as that of the energy gap between the excited state and the ground state. Okay, so any emission process that will occurring and emits the radiation of a particular wavelength, and that wavelength or energies corresponds to the energy gap between them. Then next is the if the electrons which were not restricted to discrete the energy levels, then the spectrum from an excited atom would be in the continuous manner. But this spectrum is not in the continuous manner. We are getting the line spectra of discontinuous manner. So based upon the phenomenon, so only allow the transition which are only allowed will occur, and that transitions are in the discrete manner. So again we can say that the energy can be transferred only in the discrete packets. That is, energy is again a quantized thing. Okay, energy is again a quantized thing. So that is the one factor, that is the atomic spectrum of a particular system. Okay, so next point is the heat capacity of the solids. Okay, heat capacity of the solids. So again so heat capacity of solid in the early 19th century, the two French scientists have determined the heat capacities, that is the differentiation of energy, that is the internal energy with respect to time. Okay, so the number of monoatomic solids, they have proposed that the molar heat capacity of the monoatomic gases, okay, is depending upon the temperature only. So this heat capacity is nothing but that energy is depends upon the temperature. Okay, 3 RT or 3 KT simply. Then it will be again, so energy is nothing but 3 RT, or okay, 3 NA/kT, where Na is the Avogadro's number. So all of these things are in the thermodynamics. So we will see this, okay, one by one. So here we are directly taking this derivation. We are not going into detail of this derivation, but now if we differentiate this energy with respect to temperature at constant volume, we will get the heat capacity. So heat capacity is nothing but again 3R. Okay, so heat capacity comes out to be the 3R. So experimentally it is found that the molar heat capacities are not independent of temperature. Okay, so according to this equation, it says that heat capacities are independent of temperature, but experimentally we have found that the molar heat capacities are not independent of temperature. So it has been found that the molar heat capacity of the all monoatomic solids are lower than that of the 3R at low temperature, and then that value is once approaches to 0, we get the some finite value of heat capacity. Okay, so Einstein in 1905 assumed that the each atom which will oscillate about its mean position with certain frequency. So the Planck hypothesis that has been used, that again E is equals to nh nu, where n is the again the integral multiple, okay, integer. So based upon that, Einstein has calculated the molar heat capacities for the various solids, and based upon this he has given the one function. So that molar heat capacity is the, okay, molar heat capacity, he has modified that equation as a molar heat capacity is equals to 3R into F, which will varies from 0 to 3R, where F is the function of temperature. Okay, F is the function of temperature. So Einstein temperature expresses the frequency of oscillation of atom as the function of temperature. So Einstein has explained this dependence of heat capacities of this solid, assuming the quantization of energy. So he has using that Planck's constant and Planck's quantization, okay, method. So up to this we have seen the 5 factors which could not be explained on the basis of our classical mechanics. So in order to explain that, we need to use the quantum mechanics. Okay, so that is the 5 phenomenon. Okay, so if the theoretical questions are being asked, so sometime it will be like asked in such a way that they will ask you 2 factor or 3 factor as such specifically. Otherwise, if they have asked in general, like what are the various limitations of classical mechanics, so we need to put this all the 5 that factors in short. Okay, all the 5 factors in short, so that we can elaborate that each factor individually. Okay, so generally these questions, I'm talking about the theoretical paper. Okay, and if suppose MCQ type of exam will happen, then it will not it will be anything that come from that factors. Okay, so for MCQ you have to like read all the things, but if so in theory they have been asked, they will ask particularly 2 to 3 factors specifically, then you need to explain it in detail. But if they have been asked that whole limitations of classical mechanics, then you need to explain the all the 5 factors in the brief. Okay, so next part is the basic of quantum mechanics. Okay, so the above phenomenon which discussed give the 2 important conclusion. That is, one important thing is that the energy is being the quantized, or it can be like transferred from one to another system only in the discrete packets and not in the continuous manner, as that of assumption in the classical mechanics. Okay, so energy can only be transferred as a discrete packets, which is called as a quanta. Okay, so it is a Latin word. Then next we can say that light, that is radiation, will exhibit particle like nature as well as wave like nature. Okay, so light will have the both natures. Okay, according to classical mechanics it should behave as a wave, but according to quantum mechanics it can behave as a particle as well as wave. So there is a dual nature for the light. Okay, so what about the particles? Like the electromagnetic radiations are seems to be like having the both natures, that is particle nature as well as wave nature. Okay, so it has seems that electromagnetic radiations can have the dual nature, so we need to consider this. Okay, dual nature. So according to the convenience, means which factors will decide the outcome of experiment, then based upon that we need to use the nature of that radiations. So the phenomenon like our say that photoelectrons or so photoelectric effect, there we need to consider the particle nature of wave. Okay, particle nature. And suppose if we consider the our this refraction phenomenon. Okay, reflection phenomenon. Okay, there we need to consider the wave nature of the light. Okay, reflection or other light phenomenons. So there we have to consider the wave nature of light. So before Einstein has been explained this that photoelectric effect, So people used to believe that the wave is being made up, the nature of radiations is in the wave form, and the nature of matter is in the particle form. But afterward that Einstein has explained the photoelectric effect, the radiation might be having the wave as well as particle nature, and matter will have the particle nature. So this has been changed. Okay, so this has been changed once we have uh, got the idea of that photoelectric effect. Okay, so next in 1924 that D. Broglie has looked upon this situation and thought that so that something is being missing there. So in order to provide some logic to this situation, means when will that wave and how that particle nature can be incorporated togetherly. So he has given the one famous equation, so that both the natures of radiations, that is wave and particle nature can be incorporated in single particle nature can be incorporated into the single equation. Okay, so de Broglie has given the uh, one famous equation. Okay, so that equation is this. Okay, lambda is equals to h upon p, where lambda is nothing but the wave number or wavelength, h is the Planck's constant, and p is the linear momentum. Okay, p is the linear momentum. So we'll consider first the theory behind this equation. So if the radiations having the dual nature, then by the virtue of symmetry, matter should also have the dual nature. If you consider the smaller matter, then it should be having also the dual nature. So he has postulated that matter might also be having the wave characteristics along with its particle nature. So Lewis Broglie has suggested the particles which can have the wave-like properties, which are characterized by the wavelength of wave nature, lambda is equals to h upon p. So where lambda is the wavelength, p is the momentum of particle. Okay, p is the momentum of particle. This means that the particles of a high momentum which has a shorter wavelength. So because there is an inverse relation in the momentum and the wavelength, so macroscopic objects such as having they are having the high mass, so the momentum will be high, so their wavelength will be detectably small. Okay, so if we consider the electron, if we consider the electron has the mass of around say 10 raised to minus 19. Okay, okay, not 10 raised to minus 19, it is 10 raised to minus 31. Okay, 10 raised to minus 31, so of the order of this much. Okay, so this is having a very small mass, and if you consider only the like object like our tennis ball. Okay, tennis ball, so it's say around having the mass of around 10 to 15 gram. Okay, 10 to 15 gram, so mass is quite high. Okay, and if you observe the wavelength of this electron, it comes around the, like we can say that it is around 10 raised to in the range of angstrom units. Okay, 10 raised to minus 10 meter, or we can say that 10 raised to minus 10 meter. Okay, 10 raised to minus 10 meter. But if we observe the wavelength of this, we cannot be like get in the range of minus 10 raised to minus say 40 or as such. Okay, so practically these wavelengths cannot be detectable. Only this much wavelength, like up to angstrom unit or some nanometer picometer, we can detect. Okay, but that low wavelength of very mass, having the very mass higher mass, we could not be detect that. Okay, so in this example we can see that, so for microscopic object which are having the high mass, their wavelength are undetectably small, and therefore wavelength properties which cannot be observed for the matter of having higher mass. Okay, so we can consider like suppose a person having the 100 kg of weight, so it is walking with the speed of 5 meter per second. Okay, suppose one person is walking at the speed of 5 meter per second having the weight of 100 kg. So the momentum will be what? Momentum is nothing but mass into velocity. Okay, this is the formula for momentum. So the momentum is mass into velocity. So next is the how we can get the wavelength of that particular object. Here it is a 100 kg person. Okay, So wavelength will comes out to be the in the order of 10 raised to minus 36 meter. Okay, in the order of 10 raised to minus 36 meter. So you would not be like see this much wavelength. Okay. Mm, so due to this very small nature of wavelength, we could not be like differentiate whether this having this certain wave or not. Okay, so we simply say that it is a particle nature. Okay, particle nature. But if we like observe the our radiations, we certainly can say the wavelength is there with the radiations. Okay, or the smaller particle like electrons. So despite of this inabilities, the classical mechanics which can be used to explain the behavior of the macroscopic object, so it is necessary to use the quantum mechanics only for the microscopic objects. Okay, so this is the basic difference. So classical mechanics is applicable only for the macroscopic object, and quantum mechanics is applicable for microscopic objects like small objects like electrons, photons, etc. Okay. So the de Broglie hypothesis regarding the wave character of matter will receive the first experimental evidence from the Davidson and German experiment, which they have been used to study the electron nature. Okay. So based upon this wave particle duality, the that is the matter and radiation, the idea has been inspired the one mathematician so as to introduce the concept of wave. Okay, wave in 1926 into the quantum mechanics. Okay, so that field is also called as a wave mechanics. Okay, wave mechanics. So we will see this Heisenberg uncertainty principle and another things in the next lecture.